Hello and welcome to the GCB 101. Now that you have successfully passed your interview, it's time to learn more about the Doctoral Agreement. You will want to familiarize yourself with this document, its use and its purpose prior to your mentor meeting. We will explain the GCB Doctoral Agreement in 6 steps and which one you will be using. In this video, we will walk you through the Doctoral Agreement in 6 steps. In step 1, we will explain the Doctoral Agreement in general. In step 2, we will elaborate on the framework and purpose of the Doctoral Agreement. In step 3, we will talk about the educational objectives. In step 4, we will tell you about our pro tips. There are a number of these. In step 5, we will discuss your minimum mandatory curriculum requirements. And in step 6, we will introduce you to your doctoral agreement that you will have to fill out. Depending on the degree that you have obtained, your educational background and which degree you are now pursuing, there are different ECTS requirements and thus different doctoral agreement forms. As usual, should a step be unclear, you can simply click on the corresponding timestamp in the video to rewatch that section. Step 1. The GCB Doctoral Agreement in general. Doctoral candidates are registered at the university. Most GCB doctoral candidates are also employed at the University of Bern. Doctoral candidates registered with the GCB acquire further academic training to support their research by attending training and course lectures and thus earning ECTS. According to the GCB Promotion Regulations Article 7, Paragraph 2, the Doctoral Agreement contains the scope and type of the taught courses that the candidate must attend, as well as further training and additional courses. Additional courses may be required by the expert committee to ensure that the doctoral candidate has a well-rounded standard of academic training. Please be aware, the DA details your study plan in accordance with the GCB promotion regulations. As your studies are intended to support your research, you and your supervisor will complete the DA together with your GCB mentor. Additionally, research project information, such as timetable, is recorded on this form. Step 2. Framework and purpose of the GCB Doctoral Agreement. First part, Framework. On one hand, the DA defines the framework conditions such as form and duration of the planned doctoral studies, educational, research and supervision goals. On the other hand, it contains your planned academic accomplishments such as written contributions, for example, posters, abstracts, etc., and conference contributions. The specific objective setting for the doctorate in academic terms is set out in the DA. The DA is completed according to each individual doctoral candidate and their specific research project. Second part, Purpose. The GCB Doctoral Agreement, DA, is a living document. This means that it can be changed as needed with restrictions relative to the mandatory course list. This document is used as a planning and communication tool with a defined mechanism and process. Specifically, the DA is used to define, manage, review, revise, update, share and communicate your study plan and any changes to your study plan during your time in the GCB. Major changes to the doctoral agreement must be agreed upon by supervisor and mentor. Major changes are any changes to the mandatory courses and must be recorded by revising the original doctoral agreement. The revised doctoral agreement will show the changes made from the originally planned courses to the new courses. Remember, no changes to the mandatory course list once you have attended that course. The revised doctoral agreement must be signed on the revision date by the doctoral candidate, their supervisor, and their mentor. The revision date must be noted on the form, and the newly revised form must be submitted to the GCB for final approval. Step 3. Educational objectives. In addition to the individual academic supervision, as a PhD candidate you receive the structured doctoral program offered by the GCB, which further supports your professional competence, development, research and publishing work. Within the framework of doctoral studies and GCB promotion regulations, the PhD thesis team, in other words the doctoral candidate, their supervisor, and their mentor create a personalized study program. Together, the PhD thesis team chooses the courses appropriate for the candidate's individual study program in consensus with the mentor. Final approval is given by the GCB Coordinator. GCB PhD candidates are urged to take additional, non-mandatory courses supporting their research. Furthermore, candidates are strongly encouraged to present their data beyond the annual GCB Symposium at scientific meetings. Strive to go beyond the minimum. Step 4. Pro Tips. Pro Tip 1. When you graduate, all your records must agree or match. Your university student records, in KSL planning, and the GCB student records, for example mandatory ECTS coursework listed on your DA, must all be the same. List all scientifically oriented mandatory courses on the DA in the table labeled Mandatory Requirements. Replacing courses in the mandatory list is only permitted if you have never attended a specific course. Therefore, choose very carefully. All courses with exams and listed as mandatory in your doctoral agreement must be passed. Only one retake is allowed. Pro Tip 2. Always deregister from courses you do not intend to complete to avoid an inadvertent fail for no-show. Pro Tip 3. When intending to apply for a PhD specialization, complete the DA when preparing the specialization application. You will note that there are mandatory courses to fulfill specialization requirements as well as those for the GCB. There is, however, some overlap. It is therefore wise to prepare your DA and specialization course plan in parallel. Indicate on the GCB Doctoral Agreement which courses are intended for specialization, which are for both GCB mandatory requirements and specialization, and which are only GCB mandatory requirements. Step 5. Minimum mandatory curriculum requirements. Minimum is the lowest number of ECTS you must earn. You are encouraged to supplement the mandatory ECTS with additional non-mandatory ECTS. Number 1. Earn at least 6 ECTS from scientifically oriented courses, workshops, or tutorials that provide the candidate with new knowledge relevant to the individual research project. This is the minimum requirement for all PhD candidates. Depending on your educational background, you may be required to earn 30 or more mandatory ECTS. This will be discussed more in detail in Step 6. Number 2. At least 3.0 of those 6.0 ECTS must be earned with lectures, courses, or book clubs that include a graded exam that you have passed with a grade of 4.0 or better. Pass-fail exams do not count as graded exams. Number 3. Participate in the lecture Scientific Integrity within the first year of registering with the GCB. Please list this lecture in mandatory requirements on your DA. You will not earn ECTS for the 2-hour lecture, however it is mandatory. Number 4. You are required to attend and participate in the GCB Symposium beginning with the first symposium after the first full year you are registered at the GCB. Transferable skill courses such as academic writing, presentation skills, etc. are considered optional courses and cannot be acknowledged as a part of the required minimum of 6 ECTS. ECTS are only awarded for courses, workshops, summer schools, etc. which include some type of performance assessment, for example, an exam, a talk, a poster presentation, or a written report. Requests for ECTS reviews must be submitted to info@gcb.unibe.ch and include: Number 1. The course or educational event that must be listed on your signed doctoral agreement. Number 2. If available, a signed and dated Certificate of Achievement in PDF format. This is only needed if you have attended the course prior to filling out your DA. If you are interested in attending the course or event in the future, you will of course not yet have a certificate. Number 3. Include course content, level, that is PhD, master, date, effort in terms of days/hours, exams, presentations, etc. Please provide a PDF file or a link to the course information if you have taken the course outside of the University of Bern. If you have taken a course at the University of Bern, please indicate the KSL/CTS route number if available. It is strongly recommended to request ECTS reviews of already attended courses in advance, as not all requests are approved. Furthermore, some requests are approved for fewer ECTS than requested. The relevance of the coursework to the research project is determined by your PhD thesis team. The GCB Coordinator will make the final review to determine whether the mandatory course list contains 1. Scientifically oriented courses appropriate to your level, for example, PhD. 2. The required scientific integrity lecture. 3. At least 3 ECTS that are planned to be achieved from a graded course or multiple graded courses. Please be aware that in addition to the minimum mandatory requirements, your thesis committee may request additional mandatory ECTS based on your educational background. This is true for all GCB PhD candidates and does not only apply to the MD, DDS or FH candidates. Step 6. Which doctoral agreement will I fill out? As stated during the video overview, there are 5 different doctoral agreement forms. The GCB makes the final decision on which DA you will use based on your educational background. The DA will be included in the email from the GCB Coordinator informing you of your mentor assignment. Use the corresponding doctoral agreement to the type of PhD title you are pursuing that you have received from the GCB Coordinator. Depending on your educational background and the degree you are now pursuing, there are different requirements regarding ECTS. If you are from a Swiss University of Applied Sciences, in German Fachhochschule, please use the DA specific to FH students regardless which PhD title you are pursuing. PhD candidates pursuing a GCB PhD will fill out the PhD Doctoral Agreement and refer to the GCB PhD Doctoral Agreement checklist. The same logic applies to the rest of the offered GCB PhD titles. Continue watching for additional information for the remaining PhD titles. Doctoral candidates pursuing a GCB Doctor of Medicine and Philosophy need to acquire at least 31 ECTS in total. The 31 ECTS are comprised of 6 mandatory ECTS plus 25 additional ECTS. The 25 additional ECTS are comprised of basic natural science courses to complement the Medical Master's Clinical Science curriculum. All 31 ECTS are mandatory. Requests for ECTS to be awarded for prior laboratory research work and resulting publications may be made to the GCB Coordinator. These requests must be made in an individual consultation with the GCB Coordinator. Prior to making the request, be sure to have the necessary documentation to support your request. Type of work, which institution, under whose supervision, approximate number of hours, and resulting publication. Refer to the GCB website, MD PhD page for further information on how to request a consultation. Please note, these granted for prior work ECTS must be listed on the doctoral agreement as well. Doctoral candidates pursuing a GCB Doctor of Dentistry and Philosophy need to acquire at least 31 ECTS in total. The 31 ECTS are comprised of 6 mandatory ECTS plus 25 additional ECTS. The 25 additional ECTS are comprised of basic natural science courses to complement the Dental Medicine Master's Clinical Science curriculum. All 31 ECTS are mandatory. Requests for ECTS to be awarded for prior laboratory research work and resulting publications may be made to the GCB Coordinator. These requests must be made in an individual consultation with the GCB Coordinator. Prior to making the request, be sure to have the necessary documentation to support your request. Type of work, which institution, under whose supervision, approximate number of hours, and resulting publications. Refer to the GCB website DDS PhD page for further information on how to request a consultation. Please note, these granted for prior work ECTS must be listed on the doctoral agreement as well. Doctoral candidates coming from a Swiss University of Applied Sciences, in German Fachhochschule, pursuing a PhD will need to acquire 30 to 60 ECTS in total depending on educational background. All 30 to 60 ECTS are mandatory. The GCB will determine the required number of ECTS considering the FH curriculum and the individual's program curriculum. These ECTS will be basic natural science courses found in Natural Science Master's curricula. The next videos in this series will address CTS/KSL and ILIAS. Click on the link below to access the CTS/KSL and ILIAS module and its contents. We hope you found this explanatory video helpful. Thank you for your attention. If you have any further questions, check the frequently asked questions below to see if there is already an answer to your question. If you do not find a satisfactory answer to your question, please email the GCB at info@gcb.unibe.ch directly.